I'm Mike Weaver. Thanks for joining me for a chain of custody tutorial in the Auditweaver system. Chain of custody is something that Auditweaver can do extremely well because of its ability to span across entities and to work remotely in the field or in the lab at the instrument or other source of data entry. All actions are user, date, time-stamped, and in some cases geotagged. Let's go into the application to see what I mean. Here I am in the application on the dashboard. I received a notification alert from Casey Ryder that a sample has been collected, ascorbic acid to be exact. So we'll go into workflow. We'll go into the receive piece because it's already been logged by Sarah Clemens, then collected. Now my job is to receive the sample and perform the testing, and for the purposes of this tutorial I'll also go in and review and disposition that sample so that you can get a feel for the type of chain of custody functionality that Auditweaver has. The first thing we'll do is choose ascorbic acid. You'll notice the material information, entity, sample, area, and lot. There's also chain of custody, logged and collected, who and when, any additional comments they may have added, along with any attachments that were added in the process. The top two are from the material level, a bill of materials, as well as some additional details. And Sarah Clemens added some special instructions, as you can see here. I can just click on this and open it. And this is just a test document, but if there were special instructions that were important to the process, that would be easily viewable at this point. As long as you had that reader for, let's say, HTML, doc, or Excel. The other thing I can do is add in a comment myself, or just leave that optional. I'll receive that sample. I could receive more. We'll just jump right into entering of the results. Here we have a few more samples. We know we're looking for ascorbic acid. We'll just do a quick search. And then here, I can again see the material level details. I can click on the chain of custody, expand that, and see who logged it, who collected it, who received it, any comments. I can also view different attributes, part numbers, and their values. And this is really anything that was added in on the template level, additional attachments that were viewed earlier, and the tests that are associated with this. This one has two tests. They're both awaiting data entry. I'll just choose the pH first. While I'm in at the pH for entering of results, this is a quantitative type test. I'll just enter a result in here, say 4.1. I could add a comment. Comments are not required on the first version of result, but subsequent versions will require a result of some type. I'm sorry, a comment of some type. We'll save that. Now the system is showing that as passing, date, time, and user stamp. Let's go into the next test. This is a appearance test. Select that. It's just a large toggle, really, of a pass or fail for simple type instruction or checkbox type tests. We'll say, let's look at these instructions. They say, please inspect the sample for presence of contamination, and that it's a clear liquid. It all looks good. I'll save that as well. Let's just say I had a typo, or I wanted to do some retesting, or this was previously dispositioned and a reviewer said, hey, we need to do some retesting. This could be sent back, in which case I would go back into this to modify the result, click on the check mark. This time, maybe do some replicate testing. Doesn't quite make sense on this type of a test, but you can do it for any of the tests. I'll hit save. Maybe I did a typo on that. I'll go in a second time. There's really no limit to the versioning that you can do here. Let's say that I just try to save this. It'll say, oh, please enter a comment. So enter in typo error. It actually failed. I could attach additional OS or other documentation at this point if I so choose, and that would be available to the reviewer and the disposition person later on. Save this result. And now you'll notice that the test is no longer passing, but shown as failing, version 3. At this point, if there was someone that was looking to review that sample, they would have gotten notification. We'll just go right in and review it ourselves, even though that's normally done by a separate individual. Here at the review screen, again, I can see the chain of custody who logged, collected, and received that sample. I can go in and see the different attributes at the material and schedule level. I could go in and view each of these tests. Let's say I wanted to see a little bit more information about this version 3 item. I can see version 3 just fine. Go into version 2, I can see that comment and what was entered there. And I can go back to version 1. If everything looks okay, I can now, or if it doesn't look okay, either way I can review it. And this is the last screen where I can enter in another comment if I so choose, or I can just hit the set status. And now if I did not like that type of testing, or something is wrong, something needed to be looked at again, I could not approve this. It would send it back to active status, in which case the tester or the person who entered the result could go back and do whatever additional items I put in the comment space for them to do. Or I can approve this, in which case I can now review more or do a disposition on that sample. See my different samples here that are ready for disposition. If I had a long list, again, I could sort on ascorbic, or let's say BC supplier. Any of this information in here is easily searchable. The difference between this screen and the review screen is now, in addition to the chain of custody and attachment documentation that I can view and download, I can also see reviewed as and date and time of the reviewer. So you can see if something very quickly was passing or failing, when it's been reviewed, what version it was at. If I wanted to see additional details on these tests, again, I could just click on those items. It would take me right into the test area. If I want to do a disposition, it gives me one last screen where I can enter in a comment. These comments are attached to the C of A. I'll just say full release to North America. I can also see the chain of custody, logged, collected, received, when it was reviewed and approved. And I'll show you the reports will have even more information later on. Let's just set the status. So to pick my different status type, we'll go with released. And now I'll go back to the dashboard. And we'll just do an entity search to find our sample quickly. You know it's ABC supplier and we don't have too many of those, so here we are. At this point, as I mentioned previously, you could reopen the sample and send it back for additional replicate testing, investigation, whatever you need to do. You can also get a report. You could issue another barcode report, in which case that was already given to me when the sample was shipped. I could issue a certificate of analysis. This particular tutorial, we're interested in the chain of custody. So here we get a preview of that chain of custody. We can see that it was released, scheduled, collected, approved, and released, and all the different tests, their versions, what date and time, and the comments that were associated with those tests. I'll just go ahead and email this. I could have also saved it to desktop, and there you have it. If you have any questions, you can email me at Mike@Auditweaver or the support team at support@auditweaver.com. Thank you.